Hi guys, I'm Alex. I'm making this video because I posted a Reddit post a week or so ago, and I was quite overwhelmed actually by the amount of responses I got and the replies and questions, and I tried to answer as many as I could, but there were just so many, and I was getting so many private messages, and I'm sorry if I couldn't answer all your questions, but I'm going to hope to answer some of them now. And the reason why I made that post, the post I made was the title was "The Best Advice I Can Give You," is because I've been doing FBA for about 10 months now, and I've grown my business very quickly. But at the same time, it hasn't all been straightforward, and I see lots of sort of videos and gurus out there that make it out as if it is, and it frustrates me because it's not. And it hasn't all been roses for me. My first product was very successful. It has been very successful. I've pushed that on into other markets, which have also been very successful. And now I am building on that, launching more of sort of a similar type of product or variants of that product. But very soon after I launched my first product, I then launched a few other different products, completely different products, which I found through the viral launch search. They said there were 5-star ideas. Terrible idea. I sat there and I watched a so-called guru talk about how to do product research, and he was using viral launch, and he said something come up and it was a 5-star idea, and he was like, oh, this is a great idea, and was basically saying how viral launch tells you it's a 5-star idea. It generally is, which is really, really bad advice, because there are so many variables and factors that you should consider. And I did consider it. I mean, I certainly didn't go into it blind, but I was swayed by that 5-star. And my advice would be, don't look for 5-star ideas if you're using viral launch. Ignore the star. But if you're interested in, and you find this video useful, then I'll make another video in the future. But what I want to do right now is I want to do a few things. One, I want to show you my account, because you get a lot of people that that try and give advice to other people and lie about their sales numbers, and I don't agree with that. I don't think that's right. So I want to show you my account, and I'm going to show you my account, which will show you revenue, and I hardly ever talk about revenue. And what you'll see when I show you these numbers is, I mean, most of it's in sterling and euros because it's mainly on Amazon in Europe, but my revenue at the moment is running at over $1 million a year if you pro rata it out for the year, right? What I've got per month. And I've got to that point in 10 months, but revenue doesn't mean anything, and that's really important, and I'm sure most of you guys already appreciate that. But when people show you revenue numbers, and if I was to sit here right now and say to you guys, look, I can show you how to build $1 million business, it's not a million. Even though I'm making in revenue $1 million, it's not $1 million business, because I'm not making $1 million in profit. Really, what matters is how much profit am I making. That's what's important. So I want to show you what my kind of account looks like, where I'm making my money in the different marketplaces, and then I'm just going to go on to an example of why I think that the opportunity isn't so much on Amazon.com, and it's on the other marketplaces. And I'm not going to make a really long video. It's just going to kind of be 10 minutes covering that off. If you guys find it useful, then I'll make another one in more detail in the future. If you don't find it useful, that's absolutely fine. Just let me know, and I won't waste my time. So let's hop into my computer, and I'll show you what I'm talking about. So this is my seller account, right? So we're in Amazon.co.uk. You guys can see pretty much everything. The only thing I've covered up is my store name for obvious reasons. So I'm just going to refresh this page, right? So you can see that according to Amazon here, my revenue, and again, we're going to talk about revenue at the start, and then we're going to stop talking about it. So my revenue is 28.5k for the last 30 days. For whatever reason, this isn't all of the revenue. I don't know why, but Amazon doesn't actually capture all of the revenue. You can get all the transactions if you go into reports here, click on that, and then go through and look at transaction reports and do a date range report, because this is understating my sales. I checked it earlier on, and actually my sales over the last 30 days in the UK have been closer to 1,800, well, over 1,800. So I don't know why it doesn't cover everything off. I'm not quite sure. Yeah, so this is the UK, right? So that's reasonably sizable, and like I said, I started this in January, and it's the 1st of September now. So actually, yeah, I mean, well, that's only 8 months. Now that's the UK. Germany, these are my sales, that's 18,500 euros. Spain, it's 11.5, although I'm growing in Spain, so that should go up in the near future. And then I launched in Canada a month ago, same product, which is really selling in the other marketplaces, and I'm already the best seller in Canada. I've got a better product, and I'm actually cheaper than the competition right now. But I do intend to put my price up. I'm still making about $5 or $6 a unit, but I do intend to put my price up pretty soon. I'm just establishing myself as the best seller for a little while, and then I'll put my price up. But there's $10,500, and like I said, I only launched last month in August. It was around about the 10th of August that I really started to kind of push it. So only about 3 weeks sales, and you can see that because in the last 7 days I've done 217 sales, and in the last 30 I've done 400. So if you pro-rata that 7 days out, I will be selling close to 800 units, or more than 800 units. So that's my revenue, and as I said, I don't like talking about revenue. I like to talk about the profit. So I'm going to show you my P&L right now. So this is my P&L. Now, obviously, I could have fudged these numbers. So you just have to take my word for it that this is genuine. What I've got in here is I've got my revenue. This is all in sterling. So even though the different countries, for example, Germany and Spain, are in euros, I've used exchange rates and converted them into pounds. So this has got everything. As I said to you, if you go into your transaction reports, you'll see all of your sales, and what you can see is I started. I started in January. I started getting a couple of reviews. There was a few odd sales here and there in December, but really, I started properly in January. So you can see that I started in January. My revenue was around about 9,000. I'm selling for around about £18, a little bit more. So let's work out how many units I sold. I sold about 500 units, right, in January. So that's roughly 15 a day. And what's important here isn't the revenue. What's important here is the profit, my actual profit. This is my gross profit. This is including returns. This is including basically everything, other than the software that I use. So I use Helium 10. I use an autoresponder for my emails. It doesn't include those sales, but it basically includes all of my returns, any fees associated with Amazon. This is a true net profit. And again, what a lot of other people don't do is when they talk about their return on investment, they don't talk about what are their returns and what is their actual true return on investment, because that's what's important. So what you can see here is I had a good first month, which I've launched products on Amazon.com since, and I can tell you they did not go like this. This was launched on Amazon.co.uk, and I'm going to take you through what my breakdown in each country looks like in a moment. But I had a good month. I didn't do any launch services. I had a good listing. I got some reviews beforehand. I had about 15 good reviews on there, and then I started pushing really hard on PPC, and it just took off, right? And I'm the best seller for my product in the UK, in Germany. In Spain, I'm kind of the joint bestseller, but the guy that's selling roughly the same as me, maybe a bit more than me right now, is selling for kind of half the price. And then in Canada, I'm the bestseller. So you can see that I've grown it. This is profit from around about 3,000 in that first month to last month. My gross profit was about £14,000, which pound's very weak at the moment. So typically that would be. There's normally an exchange rate of 0.65 to the dollar, right? So that would be about $21,000, $22,000 in profit. But actually, at the moment, because the pound is so weak, it's probably closer to about 18 and a half. But that the pound will recover. So there should be around about $20,000 in profit there. So has it been easy? It absolutely hasn't. Is it straightforward? No, it isn't. If I'd have launched on Amazon.com, right, this product, I wouldn't be sitting here right now talking to you guys and showing you these numbers, right? It's a whole nother ball game on Amazon.com. There is so much competition. There are so many cheating tactics that go on, and they do go on elsewhere, but nowhere near to the same extent. And And what I've been able to do is, a lot of people talk about launching more products, but actually in Amazon Europe, what you can do is launch the same product, and I'm going to show you an example in a moment. You can launch the same product, and you can launch it on different marketplaces, and that's like launching a new product. It's another revenue stream from another marketplace, and I'm going to show you that, and that's why these numbers have grown so quickly. So this is my breakdown by country, right? So you can see that I originally launched in the UK. This is the same product. I've got another variant that does a little bit of volume, but I haven't pushed it. And the reason why I haven't pushed the other variant is because of the way that Amazon ranks. If my sales were to go into the other variant, I wouldn't be ranking as well. And if you guys find this interesting or useful, I can show you how I've ranked my products. And I am basically the top rank. I'm the top ranking in the UK. I'm top ranking in Germany. I'm now the top ranking in Canada, and I'm second. I'm moving between the second and the first top ranking in Spain. I have other products I launched on Amazon.com, and I'm not ranking particularly well on them. Some keywords I am, but again, this is what I'm saying: how much more difficult it is to launch on Amazon.com. So you can see here that I launched on Amazon.co.uk, and I was making sort of around about £3,000 in profit. Then I kind of ran out of stock and went down a bit. But from that point on, I pushed on and on and on. And if you look at the growth in the UK, there has been growth in the UK. My profit per unit has gone down because I've been more aggressive and I've driven more sales. It has gone up, but that isn't what's really sort of propelled my profit. It's by pushing out into other marketplaces. This is when I started launching. This is when I launched in Germany, and you can see I launched pretty quickly in Germany, and I got to the top of the rankings quite quickly because the barrier to entry was low. It's not like Amazon.com. Well, it's not. It's not for any product, and some products it's so much easier to launch. I'm coming in for a lot more competition now. I'm at the top, and I've got some cheaters biting at my heels. They're doing lots of dodgy things, but again, it doesn't compare to Amazon.com in terms of the amount of underhand black hat tactics. It just doesn't compare. So you can see that really I started pushing on up, and Germany was a big driver here. But then in month 6, which would have been June, I then started pushing out into Spain, and you can see that that's contributing. And then last month I've just pushed out into Canada, and you can see that growth is driven by more marketplaces, and that is the difference between Amazon Europe and Amazon.com. Yes, Amazon.com, the marketplace itself may be bigger, and it is a lot bigger, right? So Amazon.com, my understanding, is about 10 times the size of the next marketplace, which is Amazon.co.uk. But you think about everybody tries to sell on Amazon.com, so it might be 10 times the size, but there's like 30-40 times more competition. So the low-hanging fruit is in the other countries, and that's how I've been able to drive, in a relatively short amount of time, my business to if we look at my revenue, right? So let's do the calculation, right? So my revenue, this is pro rata how I'm trending at the moment, right? So that's 12 months. Right, £724,000. If I divide that by what the pound should be, 0.65, 1.1 million in revenue. Again, I don't like talking about revenue, but since everybody else does, I might as well show you the calculation. But actually, the reality is it's probably closer to $1 million right now in dollars because the pound is so weak. So I wouldn't have been able to achieve this with this product on Amazon.com. There is no way I would have been able to achieve it. But I did it because Amazon Europe is I'm not saying that everybody can launch a product and have that same success, but I'm saying it's a lot more achievable. And I'm going to show you just a few articles which I think really hammer this home. So at the moment, Amazon.com account for over 50% share in the United States market, right? If we look at Germany, I found this article earlier on, Amazon eBay account for 66%. But actually, in Germany, Amazon only has a 28.7%. How old is this? This is 2018, so this is current, right? So Amazon only accounts for 29% of sales in Germany. That's only going to go up. So if you can get your products ranking on Germany now and start doing well now, there's no, it's inevitable that Amazon are going to see the same type of growth in those countries but they're just behind, right? So if you're get to the point where you're selling maybe 200 units a month in Germany now, if you can stay in that same place in a year or two, you might be selling 300 units. And if you get in there now, you're going to be much better off than trying to get in there in a year or two, because it's going to end up like Amazon.com eventually. And it's the same thing in the UK. I mean, if we this article here is talking about UK, so Amazon's the 5th largest, and I think this article is about a year out of date now, but here it says they account for 33% of online spend. So a year on, it's probably like 36, 37 now. But again, the point is the saturation of Amazon is so much less in Europe than it is in America. If you can get your products, not only now is it easy to get onto get higher up in the listings, for the future you're in a much better position. So I want to give you an example, right? So I was in Viral Launch earlier on, and I was just looking for a few products, and let me just double check which products I came across. Okay guys, so I've just been in Viral Launch, and I've just been having a look through the various products. I'm just taking this one for an example, right? So clogs. I'm not telling you should do this product. I'm just trying to highlight the difference between trying to succeed on Amazon.com and trying to succeed on the other marketplaces. So if we go into Amazon.com, right, and we type in clogs, and we look here in Viral Launch, right, you can see that there are a lot of sales, right? So like 10,000, 1,000, 1,000. There's a lot. Well, there's a few big ones, to be honest, which are winning on their Amazon. So I wouldn't necessarily even say these are a good product to do, but I'm just trying to use this as an example, right? So nobody in their right mind would go and try and launch clogs here on Amazon.com, because it just wouldn't make sense. Look how many reviews to the sales. Like you'd need at least 100 reviews here to even stand a chance, and even then, what are you looking at in terms of sales? 127 reviews, 37 sales, 73, 47 sales. It's just, it doesn't look good, right? But if we then go and look at the other countries, right? So we type in clogs to the UK. The UK is probably going to be the next most competitive. But again, right? I mean, the UK, let's have a look, right? So I don't think the UK will be particularly easy, but look, this guy's got 53 reviews, which is still quite sizable, but he's selling almost 300, right? He's not selling for very much. He's probably not particularly profitable. But at the same time, I mean, this guy, again, he's selling very cheap, so it probably wouldn't be recommended. The UK doesn't look like a great market, but maybe if you had a good product and you got sort of 40 reviews, you could be selling sort of 200 to 300. Then let's look at some of the other countries. So clogs, here we go. This guy has got 9 reviews, and he's selling 250. And again, there are so many variables you have to consider. I'm not saying this is a good product. I'm not saying he's making any money. I'm just, again, trying to highlight the difference between Amazon.com. Look how many reviews, look how difficult it is to get in there versus these other countries. Germany's really a jewel, because actually Amazon Germany is a little bit bigger than the UK in terms of size, I believe, and it's more accessible, right? So Germany here, look, 44 reviews. This guy is selling for €15. 250, 64 reviews, 600, right? Then let's look at, and again, like I said, the beauty of Amazon Europe is you can have the same ASIN in Amazon UK, and then you can sell that in all of the different countries with the same stock. So in this scenario, let's say you got 20 reviews in the UK, and you're able to sell maybe 100 if you had a good product, maybe 150, if you're lucky. Then in Germany you get another sort of 20 or maybe 30 reviews, and you're able to sell maybe another 200 there, right? That takes you up to sort of 300 straight off. Then you go to Amazon Italy, and you've got, it's going to be tougher in Italy, I think. But look, this guy's got one. Let's look at the product actually. What is the product? Yeah, it's just a simple clog, right? So we need to look at the history. Is he really selling that many? But again, one review, 44. Let's say you've got another 5 reviews in Italy, and you're selling maybe 50 units. It takes you up to sort of 350, I think, so far. Then you go to Amazon Spain, assuming you got a good product, and let's say how many do you? This guy's got 25. 25. He's selling 100. He's got 30. It doesn't look like a great market, but again, right, the point is he's successful. This he's got 8. Again, I'm not saying 42 is a great number, but then if you add it to the other countries, we're up to around sort of 350 now. And then go to Amazon France, it's the same thing, right? So this guy's got 17 reviews. I'm not saying that that's a great number of sales, 92. This guy's got 31, 161. Again, I'm not saying it's a great number of reviews, but the point is, has another 161 sales. So across all of those markets, right, it's the same stock, it's the same pool of stock, and it is a bit more work because you need to get your listings translated, right? But the point is, you can succeed. You can succeed across these markets. So feasibly, you could be selling 500 units across all of those markets, and you would have needed perhaps across all those markets maybe 60 reviews, which is, I'm not saying that's not tough. It is tough, and also on top of that, Amazon are selling a lot of this. Wouldn't be a necessarily good product to do because Amazon are dominant basically, but it does highlight the fact that there are it's pretty much every marketplace they're dominant, right? But I'm just trying to highlight the opportunities that are in the other countries. When you compare it to America, it is so difficult to succeed. But if you actually start to look at the other marketplaces, there's a lot more low-hanging fruit. And like I said, for me personally, I wouldn't have succeeded. I wouldn't be again, revenue, let's quote revenue number because everybody else does. I wouldn't have $1 million business in 10 months if I'd just gone and started selling on Amazon.com. I'm not saying it takes 5 minutes to go and find a product. It doesn't. It takes longer. I'd have to sit for a day, maybe 2 days, and do a lot of product research to go and find another good product. But the point is, if I was going to find that product, I'd be looking on Amazon Europe. So that's it. I mean, all I wanted to do was just make this video to really kind of highlight what I said in my Reddit post, really try and give you guys an example. This isn't the best example because I haven't sat there and I haven't really looked for a good product, but I've just tried to highlight, the barrier to entry in those other countries is so much lower, and the bonus of Amazon Europe is that same stock you can use in all of those different marketplaces, and that is that is a gift really, and it's something that I personally think is the way forward and the best way to succeed on Amazon. Alright guys, let me know if you found that video interesting. If you didn't, then I won't make any more, but if you did, let me know and I'll try and answer some of your other questions.